Good morning, everyone. Hey, good morning, everyone. Tim with Alpha Wolf Trading coming at you with the free Friday pre-market prep. This is something I do every single day for the pro members over at Alpha Wolf Trading. I'm going to go through some stocks that have caught my eye this morning and lay out the potential play for them. But let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to say is, we had a little bit of a pullback yesterday in the markets. Nothing dramatic, not a big surprise after the kind of run we've had in a very short period of time. It's not a dramatic sell-off. We're just working our way back into the Bollinger Bands in some sectors and taking a bit of a breather. So I don't think there's anything to panic about. I don't think we're going to have a massive correction here. I think it's just healthy consolidation action. But anything can happen, so we have to be aware of that. We are heading out into a long holiday weekend. We have President's Day on Monday, so it wouldn't be a big shocker if we were to continue to see a little bit of profit taking heading into the weekend, maybe a little bit of a pullback. So I would recommend being careful today. This could be a very choppy type day. On choppy type days, if you can't find your right setup, there's nothing wrong with sitting on your hands or finding something else to do, right? So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So TVIZ, TVIX, UVXY. I think those are something that you should keep an eye on. Volatility, don't chase them, right? They can't have a tendency to pop and flop. People start diving in thinking that we're going to get a big sell-off, and you don't get any follow-through of the volatility. So because there's no real fear in the marketplace, so don't chase these, but keep an eye on them. They could present a scalp opportunity for you. um, MNTA just came out with some nice news, and this has got a really good looking chart. I mean, it just had a big spike, nice flag consolidation, tight. 19 appears to be acting as price support, looking for it to take out the $20 holla. It was a good press release. They got $50 million upfront payment in cash, signed a collaboration license deal, or got clearance for a collaboration license deal. So really nice looking chart. If it's if it gaps too much and you know can't find an intraday setup, could be some sympathy plays in VRX, ENDP, HZNP. That those names lately have been getting a little bit of action. VRX just had a drug approval yesterday, so you could look for sympathy plays in some other names if you can't get the right setup in MNTA. But this has got a really hot look on the daily. AVID, one of the pro members brought this to my attention this morning, A1, and it's got a pretty good looking setup here. Likely going to have some resistance right around 6 and change, right? Maybe this gets a 6 roll. Looks like it's going to have some resistance. It just closed this gap on the daily time frame. It has a nice consolidation. I don't know when earnings are coming out on this, but look for a quick scalp up to 620 and 625 or so, the 200-day moving average. That could work. It could also be interesting for a swing on a pullback to $5, right? Close this gap, $5.10. I think this over here was a disappointing earnings report and guidance, and that's kind of what broke this down. Now you filled that gap, you're coming up into resistance. So not a lot of upside risk reward. I mean, if you're going to take this, you got to be, I think you have to have a really clear strategic plan. For a scalp, it's nearing overbought conditions, but it does have an interesting looking setup for a day trade opportunity. EXK was another one that A1 brought up. It's got a nice look to it. It's consolidating. It looks very similar to the gold ETFs, right? JNUG Nugget consolidating. This is silver name. Um, if gold and silver get a good pop, this is likely going to get a good pop as well. Um, we could get a 5 test and roll, but likely going to have some resistance there at 5. So 20 cents worth of upside. It's worth keeping an eye on. I like the daily. It is above the moving averages, which are sloping higher. It does have a pretty nice look, worth keeping an eye on. SXE. So this is a utility name that popped yesterday on good volume, right? 1.1 million shares, good relative volume. 21.7 million shares in the float. Not a big short interest. Could get a 3 test and roll. So actually, what I would be looking at this is a potential pullback, red to green move, and then maybe a 3 test. So looking at that as a potential day trade. Want to see some continued volume there. Vert is got a nice looking setup on the daily. I mean, this could be a swing, it could be a day trade, but it's consolidating. It might need more time. Pull back to 18 could be a place where it finds some price support. And then if you can take out 19 with real conviction, maybe get a pop up to over 20. But pretty nice look on VIRT. PRMW, this is really, I had a nice big pop. I believe this was off of earnings, got out of the upper Bollinger Band. Look at this tight pullback, right? Real tight candles on a pullback. Looking for 14 as potential price support. Put a stop maybe down at 1350 or so. I don't know. 16 is like almost its all-time high, and if they could take out 16, you're in blue skies with this PRMW. I think it's got a really hot looking chart. This could be a swing, could be a day trade. 21 million shares in the float. It's a thin stock, but it's been in a really nice uptrend. It is a bit of ways away from the 200-day and the 50-day. So could it pull back into this 1350 area? It certainly could. But this has got a hot look, and I think it's worth having on your radar. Let's see what else we got going on this morning. True reported earnings. It's gapping. It actually gapped up to, I think, about $16. Pre-market built a long base, right? Built out a long base before this earnings report. Maybe on a pullback to $14. Where there could be some price support that could be interesting for a swing, maybe on a pullback to $15. It's actually pulled back to 15.20 this morning pre-market. It got up to 16.25. It's pulled back to about 15. So see if 15 holds the support. Maybe get a day trade bounce off of 15. 48 million shares in the float with 36% short interest, so does have squeezability, right? Could get squeezy, worth paying attention. TRUE for a day trade opportunity. Let's take a look at the next one. Perry had some news this morning. Doesn't appear to be doing a whole lot. 2 is looking at like it could be price support. You are oversold. Maybe it gets a bounce. 39 million shares in the float. It wasn't doing a whole lot off of this news this morning. So, is there an potential opportunity there? There could be one. Could get a bounce up to that 235 area where you got a little bit of price resistance. Actually, first spot could be 220, right? And it looks like 2's trying to hold the support. We'll see what happens. We'll see. This is probably, like I said, this is probably one of my least favorites for this morning. But you never know. Never know. Could get a bounce here off of that news. All right, let's see what else we got going on. CYTK had some news after the close. Look, it is flirting with a 12 roll. See if it gets any continuation there. 39 million shares in the float. So fairly small float. Needham put a strong buy on this not too long ago. I think it's worth paying attention to. It could be a day trade swing with a lotto. You could look to take this at 1150 or so on a pullback. See if it takes out 12 and then scalp out some at 1220 or so, and then maybe hold some lotto, see if you can get a test back up to 1350. Let's see what else we got going on this morning. Okay, hold on a second. All right, so MYGN has had some news this morning. This is a pretty thin name, 48 million shares in the float, 49% short interest. And, look, it wasn't doing a whole lot pre-market when I looked at it, but potential $18 roll, right? $18 holla. You're going to have some resistance maybe at 18.40 or so, but then you've got this gap to fill up to about $19.43. Uh, I think it's worth paying attention to. I would not chase this. The news was that it successfully identified metastatic breast cancer patients with AstraZeneca. So, look, I think it's worth watching. I wouldn't chase it. Um, Let me see what it's doing. It's still not doing anything pre-market. So, potential 18 test and roll could be a day trade there because of the fact that it does have such a big short interest. But um, yeah, like I said, be careful. We don't want to be chasing anything today. I think today is going to be a fairly choppy day. Let me take a look at RWLK. So here's a spec play. They reported earnings. It had a little bit of pop yesterday. Broke over this longer term trend line. Could get a pop up at the 250 range. You got the 50-day moving average that could act as resistance. 260 actually could pop up in 260. If it takes out 260, maybe we get a three test, right? Could be a day trade. Only 9 million shares in the float. Has a tendency to be a pop and flopper. Pop and flopper. So do not chase it. If this does go on a run and you can't get an ideal entry, another name that could go in sympathy is EKSO. Full disclosure, I own this in my long-term hold portfolio. I have traded in and out of EKSO many times, and it's a position that I like having a core position in because I really like this. It's early tech. I think it's at some point this could be a big play, but I'm in and out of this one, and I do have currently hold a position in it. Um, so that is one that could go in sympathy with RWLK. ASMB, I happen to just come across this one on accident. What a hot look, right? But super thin. 11 million shares in the float. Potential 20 roll with some conviction. They had some news yesterday, but it's phase 1A trial. I mean, this is early stage stuff, but stochastics just hooked to the upside. It's $20 is a big spot for it, right? Look at that cup. Look at this big cup. So maybe it makes a handle here, right? I don't know. This is just a hot daily that I came across on accident. This is a big spot for it. $20 is a big spot. Got a big gap on the weekly to fill. I don't know. ASMB is worth watching, worth keeping an eye on. They lose money, and I didn't check their balance sheets, so they may need cash. They may need to do a capital raise soon, but sure did have a nice looking daily. All right, AZN. Did I already talk about this one? It's hard to remember. AstraZeneca flirting with $30 high. I might have talked about this already. That's what happens when you go through this twice, right? Um, Potential $30 high, more of a swing type. Uh, CLD. All right, let me pull up CLD. Coal name, right? Held up really nice yesterday, which is impressive. It was a weak tape, had a nice pop, good volume, 4 million shares, looking for potential continuation. Could run into some resistance here at 650. Could pull up here and then consolidate out a little bit and then move higher. But pretty impressive. Just released their earnings behind it. Broke over that trend line, looking for a potential follow through continuation. Maybe it pulls back to $6 and then you get a bounce. So that could be an interesting place to take it. Could be a swing, could be a day trade, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm kind of looking at it as both. If I can get the right entry on it, right? Pull back to 590. I think it becomes fairly compelling. BNTC. This has had some news this morning. Pretty interesting looking setup. They need cash. They need cash fairly soon. So don't chase this one. Look for an intraday setup if you want to day trade it, but I wouldn't be holding this overnight, especially on a Friday heading into a holiday weekend. Perfect time to do an offering. So be careful with that one. They need cash, and they're very early stage. In vitro, They have an in vitro study that they're going to be presenting, and that's very, very early stage, so I would be careful there. Okay, I don't know if I did this one. Okay, VLRS is another one. I got a lot of them this morning. VLRS, airline, right? Mexican airline. I actually was watching this one for a while, and then I thought it was going to do a double bottom, and it actually broke lower, but it's managed to climb back higher. They reported a record 38% adjusted EBITDA margin for the full year 2016. Transportations are a bit extended, so it's going to be fighting the sector. I think sector's pulling back a little bit, but this one's interesting for a potential 15 roll. Take out this trend line, maybe you go up and test somewhere around $17 or so. Um, maybe on a pullback to 14 bucks, that's your area of support for a swing. This could be a swing or it's a thicker stock, 635 million shares in the float. So swing, long-term hold if you like the airlines or transportation, or you may want to just wait until this thing pulls back to around 13.50, $14 as a potential swing entry. But this could be in play today as a day trade as well. I think but you need to see some real volume, okay? And it's probably going to be slower, a little bit slower of a trade, but worth keeping an eye on. VLRS. All right, and then we're gonna pop into RGSE real quick. Is getting some action pre-market off of some news after the close. Recent reverse split. It's up about. Well, it was up about. Oh, it was up like 40%. Now it's up 18%, right? So could be in play today. Only 1.2 million shares in the float. 19, almost 20% short interest. The press release looked fairly decent. Solars are extended. The sector is extended, so it's pulling back a little bit. So it could battle the sector, but if this really starts to run and you miss it, you can't find an entry. There are other opportunities to take into consideration. You could look at ENPH as a potential sympathy play. Hold on a second. ENPH, which is one that I've been watching. It is flirting with the 200-day, trying to hold that as support. Look for a trend line break, maybe a test up to $2. Another one to take a look at is VSLR. VSLR just had a pop the day before yesterday. It is overbought. This is a big spot for it, $3.36, right? That's a big potential flat top breakout there. This might need more time to consolidate and pull back. This gets interesting maybe at $3, right? As a swing for a bounce trade, right? $3 could be your line in the sand for support. Put a stop just below, or not line in the sand for support, but a potential entry at 3, right? And then you put your stop at what, 285 below these moving averages, and you're looking for it to go back up and test 330, possibly take out the flat top breakout and go do a 4 test. But kind of nice looking setup there on VSLR as well. And then I'm going to wrap it with Tops, which is gapping pre-market. Had some news. Had a big day yesterday on good volumes, getting some follow through today. So the whole shipper space could be in play. For day trade only, there are a couple of names actually in the space that I like more than day trade opportunities. Salt and TOO are two that I happen to like more, maybe for a swing than a day trade. But the whole sector could be in play. So if you can't find a good setup in Tops, then maybe look at DRYS. Day trades only, do not chase, right? DRYS is one. EC, ESEA, DCIX is another one, right? That could these are all the low floaters, right? All the low floaters that could move in sympathy. SHIP is another one, and then two. These ones. This one I think actually pays a dividend. 68 million shares in the float, pulling back to the 200-day moving average, potential bounce, right? Maybe 550, 560 could get a bounce off of here. I actually kind of like to, I like it much more than I mean, they make money actually. So this one's kind of interesting. I like the look of two, and then SALT is the same thing, pulling back to, an area of potential support for a potential bounce. So like I said, if you can't, find a good setup in tops, then there are opportunities in other shipping names to look for as sympathy plays. Whew, that was an awful lot. I hope you found something in here of use to keep an eye on uh, for today. And like I said, look, if it's a choppy day, sometimes it's just good to sit on your hands and do nothing, right? So, good luck trading today. If you like what I do here, come check us out over at Alpha Wolf Trading. I am looking for people that really genuinely want to learn, not looking to just chase. I do this every single day, pre-market prep, and I do a post-market wrap for all the pro members. Do trade plans, strategy, uh, and the goal is to help people become consistently profitable traders. That is the goal. Better, consistent, profitable traders. So come check us out. And that's it. Have a fantastic day trading today. Have a wonderful long holiday weekend. I'll be back later today with either later today or early tomorrow morning with the post market wrap. And then I'll be back on Sunday for a stocks to watch on Ticker TV. So have a great weekend. Enjoy, and I'll see you all a little bit later or next week. Best of success today.